Conference of the Barbados Police Service lends credence to the research and report of the Democratic Labour Party. It puts in stark relief what the country already knows. Its young men are in crisis. It is also not surprising when read alongside the high youth unemployment figures. It is evident that Barbados is ripe for a full reset that will enforce societal standards. These must be taught deliberately. The young persons already caught by the criminal justice system need thorough assessment and rehabilitation through the courts and the prison system. The schools need preventative filtration systems to identify the at-risk students and focused efforts at reclaiming them as valued citizens. Kudos to the Barbados Police Service for their tireless and often thankless efforts. They need to be capitalized and resourced, including human resources, to enable them to continue their sterling contributions. They also need to remain free of political interference to ensure that all aspects of crime are tackled, not just violent crime.
Must have enough courage to sway young writers, whether they're writing books or calypsos, to write in a manner that uplifts little children in this country. Must we be afraid to say that? Must we seek popularity and forsake principle? I know we are politicians and we all want to be loved and to gain success at the polls. But do we have a moral responsibility to pause in our quest for success at the polls and say to our musicians or literary people, whether they're writing books or calypsos, and say to them, look, do exercise some sense of responsibility that what you write really should uplift and not degrade. I have said it in here before, and I say it again, abiding by principle and not in any quest for popularity, because the future of this society remains at stake. When we as a parliament cannot say to young people, well, you know, sometimes what you write is not doing this society much good. And I referred to those 80 teenagers in prison because they have emerged from a society that is now characterized by levels or domains of decadence which may have influenced their path towards that prison. That if a child gets on a public service vehicle at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and hears lyrics from a calypso, and this is whether the van turns over or not, because some of the vans turning over physically, but morally they're turning over every day. Morally they're gone, can't take it. Can't take it. We gone.
Honorable, continue, please.
Yes, let him go. So that we're talking about copyright, the right to create, the right to monetize that creative effort, the right to have that creative effort protected by the copyright laws. And while the copyright laws may protect it, who is protecting the audience? Who is protecting the young child on the public service vehicle who is led to believe that social interaction is about violence and sex? That is the point. That is the point. That while the copyright laws are protecting them and while they are monetizing their creative effort, there is a moral deficit that is suffered by young people in this country. Are we afraid to say that in here? I'm not afraid to say it. I have to live in this society. And I don't personalize my parliamentary discourse But the overwhelming majority of us here are parents. You mean we are going to seek political popularity and abandon our responsibility as parents, as teachers, all for the sake of material gain when there's a vast moral loss that is suffered by this society, when a little 6-year-old is getting on a public service vehicle and all that he can hear is sex and violence, and sometimes there's no distinction between the two, because sometimes the sex sounds like violence and the violence sounds like sex. And that is not a worthy topic, that is not a relevant topic in the context of copyright. They can leave again. That is what is happening in Barbados. And anybody who doesn't want to hear the discussion, they're forfeiting their right to a public audience. I say so. They are forfeiting their right to a public audience if they believe that the degradation and the dissent, the moral dissent that has been made in this society at the hands of men who believe that they're creative, they forfeit the right to an audience. I say so. And telling me about relevance, this is no discussion to be sanitized behind legality nor technicality. There's a deep problem in this society, and that deep problem is affecting young children. And all of us are here parents, whether natural or adoptive, we are parents, and we join the other parents of this society and enter into solidarity with them that this problem must come to an end. It must come to an end. This society must correct the degradation of relationships between children. When we were at school, we didn't go into an environment that is present in the schools now. Some of us were walking to school 3 miles. Some of us were on public service vehicles without music. You go to Washington, London, New York, Toronto, and you catch a bus or a train, you don't hear any filth in your ear. Why is it that you get on a PSV in Barbados and you have to hear music? Why? It is there to transport people, not to entertain people. And it is not entertainment, it is degradation. Who will have the courage in here to say that today? One voice. If any of the members of the government join in this discussion, I challenge them to say what is the government's position on it. And silence will be acquiescence in a social problem that is afflicting this country. When our young children on the way to school, Your Honor, on the way to school, afflicted by filth, and telling me about relevance, get with it, my friend.
Good evening. Welcome to Thursday edition, Thursday of DLP TV. We are now the third channel here tonight. The topic is crime and youth and its responsibility. I think the Alleyne has now settled. We don't blame government for every incidence of crime. Everybody accepts that government has a responsibility. The government has a ministry dedicated to crime. What has been the government's measures in dealing with crime in the last 6-7 years? Right now we know that there's the football tournament going, and we do know that that is a tournament designed to suppress or curb crime in Barbados. You probably don't know, you probably don't know, we mentioned it earlier this year, that government has something called a Start Rise program, and it was designed to help young people at risk. It was designed for 500 persons. 50 persons graduated, and they were supposed to graduate into employment. Not one of them succeeded in finding employment as a result of that scheme. Someone collected $1.7 million. Not one person got a job. And that is really a description of government's record in relation to crime. But we want to what government's responsibility and examine government's irresponsibility in relation to crime. We have assembled a very distinguished panel from an immediate right from Damien Fanus. Damien, I was introducing Damien as one of our athletes. Damien has been an athlete, he's not here. Everybody's, already mentioning the age. He's a lawyer, former athlete, still an athlete, you're young enough, but he's Damien, welcome to the next panel. Thank you, Panelists, and welcome everyone. Thank you. Today is immediately right, a distinguished lawyer, criminologist, the chairman. This lady's work this year on the Democratic Labour Party's Commission on Crime has been the pinnacle of excellence in research into crime, its causes, and solutions. Every page, just about every page of that report carried not only inquiries into crime, interrogations into crime, but then solutions. And Verla Peiza has been the chairman of that committee. Verla is still a practicing lawyer. She practices in the criminal courts, in the civil courts, in the family courts, all the courts. Verla practices. She does a non-contentious practice as well. Verla Peiza, former president of the Democratic Labour Party, led the party into an election, distinguished citizen of Barbados. Ms. Verla Peiza, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good night to all who are viewing wherever you are in the world.
When you use the word vivacious to describe his panelists, that's the word that we first encountered in relation to shows in Barbados, but this gentleman is vivacious. The public loves to hear our sociologist, our resident sociologist, Dr. Alleyne. Welcome, Derek.
Before I say thank you for this man, so I endorse everybody who said about Verla. It was really a from working on that. She led everything on the focus, the structure of the document. I must say it was exemplary. It was excellent.
And the government is still trailing, They haven't been able to get meetings at the Council Council. They have they're miles away from the report.
Next year, it's here. And I understand I love them.
Yes.
So do something that really calls for heavy effort on your part because her work is very, very, very outstanding.
Yes.
I want to commend the report to anybody.
Yes.
I've seen it. And we will make some more copies.
Yes, relevance. We are getting lots of calls. And every promise the museum that days. If you have not, your report is on its way. You can't stay that days, but you know.
I don't know. We had the portraits of because there was some of them we was a little problem with the money.
I see.
So we want to get them ready and get them distributed.
Yes, because they don't want to be telling people 50 go online. They like hard copies, so we're trying. It's costly, but we're trying to get hard copies for as many people as possible. Welcome to you, Ben. With all this dessert praise.
First, let me say thank you for what you did.
Always welcome. Let us begin by looking at the origins and causes of crime. I feel a little note here. That's better. I normally make the distinction between the behavioral and structure, or in other words, the sort of values and we stand right there.
I just want to make a general point that I'm prepared to come in into the old documents and listen.
Yes.
Just make sure everything right. The Kumar said that there are 5 primary institutions in any society. Religion, institutions, yes, that create, maintain, and design our society operates. Yes. Family, religion, education, economy, and government.
You see those first three?
Yes.
Religion. We can say church and
Religion was only the church. Right?
education. Those three have been strong institutions in Barbados. And the other two, economy, and that was strong as it used to be. Right? And that was strong.
I said, and then I got the call for that content and part of it. I said, no.
Sorry, what did they call?
I good. Nothing is there for me.
Good.
My point making when I went and I'm ready to tell you that when we were having our discussions, I kept saying we have to look at institutions. Institutions keep a society focused
Yes.
and directed.
Yes.
And Barbados, all institutions have been attacked by the policies of this government. Education.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Education for sure.
Yeah.
The
Government.
anxiety.
Listen, Parliament.
And-
Parliament is part of government.
Oh yeah.
Nothing in Parliament, no. I follow the traditions of any Parliament in
The last year has been disastrous.
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 All the papers
And
come the
that's
same night.
exactly what we mean. Bringing legislation there.
Yeah, but all the
Right.
papers,
It's
for you to
with
prepare,
mistake.
for the leader of it to prepare for paper, for debate,
Yes.
he must get all the paper timely,
Yeah.
so he can sit with his bodies and
You know, Derek, I always tell them, look, you write it in English, I'll deal with it.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's every institution in Barbados
Is in
that
line.
is critical has been undermined, and I said attacked by this government,
Yes.
and family, education,
Yes.
and government in
Yes.
particular. I leave the economy to the economists, but family,
Tell us about family.
listen,
How would you say the family has been attacked by this government? We know how education has been because the 10 and 11-year-old children are being told every year, well, this is the last year for 11 plus. They haven't had adequate consultations with the teachers nor the schools.
how do you define a family in Barbados now?
Well, you know, family traditionally in Barbados, it's not mother, father, 2 children, the Eurocentric thing. It's the extended family.
Right, and that family involves the community.
Yes, the village.
Right, I've said on this program already that the government took a decision that community development in Barbados is a no-no. It's a no-no.
Yes, yes. Too many centers are closed.
No, everything about community development is done,
Yeah.
and I really don't want to expose some issues that have come to my interest. But I went to university graduation on Saturday, and the social science department graduated 400 and somebody people.
That's good.
I mean, a wash of people. I mean, I was there till they ran wash up the tank up down. And 12 people graduated with social work.
12.
Social work, which really is a critical
Yes.
part of responding to family crises in Barbados. Social work.
So the institutional safeguards against crime are weak.
Are we? And one of the graduates called me and told me she got upper second
in social work.
And she was thinking about where she can apply, who to apply to. And they made a few calls. And the government just moved all the former youth commissioners into something called family something program, making vacancies available in that department. You know the recruitment process is? A reference from every MP except the opposition. I say that to say that I say that's the gospel fact.
Yes.
So that those graduates that spend their time at university learning the discipline and so on have no chance to practicing what they've taught and to inculcate principles and structures in youth development in Barbados. And that is going to have a negative impact on our issue effort to fight crime.
Yes. Yes.
Because we need those graduates to come and join the process.
Yes.
Bringing new ideas, new
Yes.
teaching, new principles that they learn and so on into the process.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that Verla committee produced about providing incentives for young people and the social work community will come to naught
Mm-hmm.
because this government has taken a political decision to give people a job
Mm-hmm.
rather than provide trained personnel
Yes.
in those areas.
Yes.
And I couldn't help but start by saying that.
Okay.
It would have killed me if I didn't say that.
Okay. Well, Verla, Derek has looked at the weakness of the institutions, and this weakness promoted by government's inactivity, poor policy. Recently, the Prime Minister, in response to the wave of crime, said, identified its origins in the people's houses. She said, look, crime is located in the houses of people. And there was this statement, let me say a silly statement, if you see something, say something. I don't know what that means. If you see something, say something. This location, this avoidance of the real origins of crime and targeting or accusing people in their houses, and she was talking about working class people too, locating the origin of crime in the houses of working class people. What's your view on this?
Well, the catchphrase "see something, say something" only tells me that the Prime Minister has spent a moment or two on London transport. It is one of their catchphrases, having come out of the terrorism, right, being literally on their doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
So see something, say something sorted is said on every train ride and in some buses as well. For them, it means something because it has been
an investigation, isn't it?
Well, it's been a socialization as well, because the nature of terrorism is that you do need to have an immediate response.
Right.
So a bag that's left unattended needs to be reported immediately before it detonates.
Yes.
So it has a meaning in that
Resonance,
context.
Yes. In that
context.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
For me, the statement was insulting.
Yes.
Because it was a targeted statement.
Yes.
What we found in our research is that there's a certain type of crime which is associated with the lower classes in Barbados, and the middle and the upper classes are offended by it.
Yeah.
And there's a certain type of crime that is more associated with the middle and the upper classes, and the lower classes are offended by it.
I see.
So you will hear a constant refrain about violent crime and about drug related crime and homicides, and you will hear that refrain. But when you get on the ground and you talk to people, they will tell you it ain't different from walking away with the company money. You know, that they will remind you that there are certain people in society who are protected. So what we really need as a nation is to identify crime wherever it is,
Yes.
and develop strategies for dealing with it. I won't say root it out, because I don't believe you'll ever get rid of it entirely. But we do have to have strategies that are earmarked for every single level of crime. Now, to marry it with Derek's point, my main issue with how education is structured, and education has got to be one of the bedrocks for combating crime, is that we do not in any way relate it to the people. So education is there to be sampled by everybody, the same cake, as opposed to having the consumer, who is really the pupil,
Mhm.
all right, meeting their needs. And then at the tertiary level, that will work for primary and secondary. At the tertiary level, the table turns. What does the country need? Because you're now preparing for the world of work. What does the country need? And how do we steer our secondary school students who are looking at tertiary education towards certain professions? How do we make them sexy enough that they want to be social workers? They're going into these social sciences in any event. How do we get more than 13 interested in social work? First of all, they have to know that there is a job for them when they come out.
Yes.
So there has to be an opportunity. And secondly, the country needs to appreciate that there's worth in it. They're not going towards the jobs that have no worth unless they have no choice. And I think that any nation that is building itself, and I'm satisfied that we are still under construction, any nation that is building itself needs to keep a critical eye on what is the next step of development, not the here and now. We're not just, and this is my main critique of the present administration. They're very much into the now. So you will have a FET because that gives us the immediate euphoria. You're interested in popularity, which is how people feel about you now. It doesn't have anything to do with what the country needs to set itself up for in the future. And I think that is really what is missing. We have to find ways to get our people back to the notion that the power lies with them, and what they want is what we need to be supplying, and not the other way around. Certainly when you are speaking about the youth, education is a starting point. Too many of our young people, and the press conference yesterday was a signal moment, I hope. Too many of our young people are falling into crime. And I say falling into crime, they're choosing it, but they're choosing it at an age where, their development is not complete. So I don't know that they're actually thinking through all the repercussions. Also, education has failed them. So their options are a lot limited, right? So we need to find a way for education to be relevant. And then for those who fall through the cracks, or who have already fallen through the cracks, we need to find the ways to bring them back on board. But it cannot be a carte blanche. So whenever I hear someone say, well, what would you do? The first thing I would do is assess.
Right.
Okay? You have to assess, because whilst two young men might find themselves in the same type of trouble, the way to reach each one of them will be different. And we need, and that is why we need more social workers. They'll go in the same court and come up with different impressions on how to manage. Pardon me getting personal, but for my daughter she's pursuing art therapy, she will be using her skills to reach, and that will reach most, but not me, because I can't even draw a straight line. All right, so there will have to be something else that is tailored to reaching me should I fall through the cracks. And we need to have all of those options. So 13 is great. It's not enough. We need the social workers inside the school. So from the time you start with that mathematics alone, you know that 13 is not enough. Needing political patronage to get a job is just beyond the pale at any level. And I think we have to find ways to root that out of society. There's a mendicancy that it speaks to, that we need to nurse our people off of. And if the people are not demanding, because they've come to this. They've come and found this. And if they don't demand better, then they're not going to get better. I would like to think the DLP will show them a different way of doing things. And it has to be though that we are looking at where we're at right now, but having a vision of where we want to be, and then mapping out how we're going to get there. And our young people have to be a part of it. Therefore, we have to be spending some time reclaiming them.
Well,
They're
can
not
I follow up
lost.
on this here? We're bringing Damien.
Yes, please.
So, what the challenging thing of this is, a police officer is at P31, getting started
On the scale?
20-somebody thousand a year, just just over $2,000 a month.
Later down, we are coming to the police there.
No, I'm just making the thing about social workers.
Oh, okay.
The social workers are at Z16 to 11, which is about $4,000. Right? The ones that come out of university can't find work. The 13 that come out are not going to find work. But people who have not gone through the discipline are going into youth and community development next week, 1st of November, and start at $4,000 a month. No, is that not a crime? Excuse me.
We're going to come back to that. Damien, Verla made a statement which jolts one. She says, and she quotes the press conference as saying, young people are choosing crime. That strikes me. And I want to say to you that on Tuesday, I said in the House that there are 80 teenagers in prison. And that was not denied. And here we are, Derek is talking about education, Verla is talking about education. And if you have 80 young people, 80 teenagers in prison, you're talking about 80 people who a few years ago ought to have been on a course of education. But I come back to the statement, young people choosing crime. And you have 80 in prison. And I would think a lot of them are there for violent crime. Your thoughts?
Well, the way that I look at it is that obviously when Verla mentioned the educational system, we have an educational system that fails 60% of our children. 60, probably even into 70s right now. 70%.
And this is at the CXC stage?
This is at the CXC level, right? So
you telling me 60 don't get certification
don't
at
get
all?
Certifications at all. They don't. And then you come into contact with the government that has totally divested itself from investing into the youth. They've basically pulled back their hand in regards to putting community development programs in place so as to capture those youth that might come out of school. And they've actually slashed safety nets such as the Barbados Pension Sports Program, which would have probably appealed to those individuals, those young individuals who only just had a sport to hold on to.
Yes.
Because we're living in a time now that to capture the minds of our youth, you have to capture them at the level that they are at. Whether it's sports, whether it's creative arts, whether it's just want to work with their hands or to be musicians, artisans, anything along those lines. So it's not as Verla was saying, you cannot apply a carte blanche.
Well, you're going right where I want you to go, because if you're telling us that 60% are not certified,
yes,
it means that they are good at nothing, or what they are asked to do, they're not good at. We're talking curriculum here.
Right. So we got to speak to the different types of intelligences of our young people.
Right.
It's not a situation where they're not good at anything.
Precisely.
They're just not being met where they're good at.
So we're talking curricular reform.
Talking curricular reform.
Right.
And curricular reform cannot be just renaming names of forms.
yes. To grade.
To grades, to then think that then you're impacting education in one way or the other. Because people need to understand that that school leaving age of 16, 17 to say 30 is a very vulnerable age gap.
Life,
They're very, very vulnerable because you're coming out into a world that if you're not captured into that set of people who go into, say, the path of tertiary education, maybe BCC, Polytechnic, probably go on to UB, right, or any of our localized educational programs. there's nothing else.
Yes.
There's the safety nets are practically gone. So if they're not captured in that particular set of
You're at the mercies of the society.
you're at the mercy.
And crime is one of those.
And crime is one of them. So then, if you don't have community centers or anything else for them to go to, where else do you think that they're going to go? They're going to find themselves in the hands of individuals who are going to put weapons in their hands, weaponize them, and then turn them onto society.
Yes.
So then, now when you say that there are 80 young people in jail right now,
80 teenagers.
That is obviously par for the course.
Yes.
Because
that's a high number.
That it is a very high number. And I don't think you would have actually seen those numbers. I challenge anyone to go back and probably look at the statistics and tell me if at one point in time there were 80 individuals, 80 young people in prison in one
teenagers.
Teenagers, not just young.
Because a fellow in his 20s and 30s, they're young too. But these are teenagers. These are our children.
Which is a very frightening statistics in itself. So then we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to go back to what it is that we really need to do to capture our youth and bring them back onto the side of the right thinking individuals in society. Because this government has made promises in their 2016 Covenant of Hope.
2018
Covenant of Hope, and then their manifesto that was in 2018.
You see, I'm taking
I think Damien was right. The Covenant of Hope.
Covenant of Hope came out first.
That was released before their
the election. Yes.
Right. So in their 2016 Covenant of Hope, 2018 manifesto, and the 2022 manifesto, they made overtures to the youth. They told the youth that, listen, we will invest in you, and we will try to get the best out of you because we want you to be contributing members of society and to go economically. Your trajectory economically should be vertical, not vertical. But they've not kept those promises. And then we now are seeing situations where that there's nothing here for them. They've not been captured in that 40% who might have attained qualifications coming out of school. And then now you're telling them, we've implemented free movement for you so that you can find opportunities outside. So if you're telling me that you're not finding opportunities here in your homeland, you're not qualified to the levels that you would expect that one would then go out and find work someplace else. How are they going to compete with nationals of another country for the jobs that will be in their home state? How do you expect them to then leave and then go and find jobs someplace else if they're not been properly equipped here? It should be a situation where our youth are not leaving because they're not finding work here. It should be a situation where they say, I want to broaden my educational, occupational horizons, and I want to try something different. Not I'm leaving because they don't have anything else here. So then you're telling, so they don't have anything else here, so they're going to find themselves delving into illicit activities with individuals who are going to come and tell them, you can make quick money this way.
You know, Verla, Abrams tried to suggest that he did not tell them to leave. And when the recording was played, he was found to have been telling them in a very disgusted tone, if you can't get a job here, go to, Belize, go to Dominica, go to St. Vincent. Was the minister expelling our young people?
Well, it's for me a little worse than expelling them. It is more of an exiling and a banishment. And I say that because whilst Barbados may have entered into that free movement agreement in order to say whosoever will may come, the other three territories have made it very clear that that is not their aim. And
two-way ticket.
Not only a two-way ticket, but if you can't show that you can support yourself, if you can't show that you have prospects lined up, and critically, if you can't show that you will not be a burden on their social services, they have articulated in no uncertain terms that they are not for prospecting. Okay, so whilst without saying it, I have understood this to be one of the government's ways of redressing Bajans not getting enough babies, which is how they sold it, and hoping that by opening the doors in this way, they would get the 80,000 magic number that they've been leaning on to boost national insurance. They don't have any of the safeguards to suggest that those who come, whether they come in a trickle or they come flocking, that they will in any way participate in the national insurance scheme. We have no way of capturing them. Their information isn't even being taken at the immigration desk. So a sign saying, please go to the Labor Department is cute, but not necessarily effective. So I think that picking a poke is in my head. What they are selling by saying go somewhere else is not what is on sale. Because those three territories are not behaving in the same way that Barbados is, where free movement and their interpretation of free movement is concerned. That is the first. The second one is inviting our young people to leave is affecting brain drain on the country. And whether it was said, and I hope this was not it, in jest, because no one laughed. So I hope it wasn't in jest.
He seemed disgusted.
Whether it was said as a knee-jerk reaction, which also is well, I guess more like terrifying, because you are in government, you are in cabinet, you are holding a very senior position, and it cannot be that your comments are knee-jerk. But I think the most insidious would be if it were a considered opinion, because that then suggests that you see no value in who we have here.
Yes.
And the worst thing you can say to a young person is that you don't see any value in them. It is the first step onto the banana peel of you do not want to put your young people outside of the societal net. As it stays already, as Damien said, the attractiveness financially, even if not economically, the attractiveness financially, the short-term gains of getting into criminal activity are there and become sharper in focus when you have limited other options. I know somebody's going to tell me that they grew up poor and that they didn't turn to crime, and I am very, very pleased for you, but it remains a critical factor in determining crime, and also the correlation between economic hardship and crime is set. We know this. So the fact that they're outliers does not give the lie to the argument. And what we need to do as a government, and certainly as a government in waiting, is to have our people understand and appreciate that there is an alternate way. We do not have to be scrambling in the rat race trying to be somebody on the international scene. I'm very clear that this is part of the problem.
Yes.
Especially since I hear nobody else of note speaking about the Bridgetown Initiative and in the way that I hear our present Prime Minister speaking, and also trying to gel the words on the international stage with our local reality suggests to me that we need to be spending the time, and when I say we, I mean leadership, needs to be spending the time fixing the issues at home. Because you cannot be flamming on the outside and you're driving a fantastic sports car on the outside and you bring it and parking it next to a shack, you know, it and that really is it. But I'm making it as colorful as possible because I want to get the imagery in the heads of people that really is where Barbados is at. And we need to be fixing that house. The props on the house called Barbados are sagging. Our social framework needs shoring up. The prettiest looking house that is only held together by paint because the wood ants have eaten out everything else will fall down in a puff. Not a hurricane, in a puff. And we are sitting here waiting with bated breath for that ill wind to blow. And our society is showing all the cracks. They are not being held together by anything anymore. We just walk through a few of them. We just talked about education, so we know how that is failing. Look at our roads. Look at our transport system. Look at our health. Look at our social safety net, you know? And with those in tatters, we invite others in and tell our own that they could go somewhere else. And if that picture does not tell you indifferent, I don't think anything else will. And that's why I went through all of the various ways that he could possibly have got himself to that statement, and all of them stink.
I like the analogy of fixing the house. Derek, one of the government's strategies towards fixing the house I referred to in my opening statement. I don't know if you'd ever heard of the Startwise program, and I want to bring this information to Barbadians, that the government spent $1.7 million on a person or a group of persons, small group of persons, on this so-called Startwise project. And it was supposed to cater to 500 young people, at-risk young people. It graduated 40. And those 40 did not find a job associated with that program. So it was a failure. And here was a $1.7 million failure. And you're telling me that we graduate 13 social workers who probably will not find work. I want to take you back, and I want to take the audience back to this Startwise. You'd heard of it?
Of course I have.
You heard of it. But you spend 1.7 million, Derek, and you don't account to the country. You don't come back to the country and say, look, we spent 1.7 million of taxpayers' money. We gave it to someone or some small group of persons.
What's happening?
What has happened? What has happened, Dr. Ali?
What's happened with the black program?
Precisely.
What happened black program?
It ended in all right.
You know, the things with acronyms and fancy
slogans
catch people's imagination.
Yes.
But when you look at the ingredients of the program, you say that those ingredients are not going to make a cake. Right? What the cake is going to fall, is not going to, we're going to fluff. Right? Now, I want to step back a bit first and say, you talk about 82 people. 82 youth.
Not youth. Teenagers.
But I want to, but that problem is the deficiency of the probation service and the juvenile reform system. The government
going to the institutions.
The government had a consultant examine the problems at the juvenile system. It used to be the dogs. We used to call it dogs before.
I want to ask you this, Derek. Sorry to cross you.
No, you good.
If you have a chap in prison at the age of 16, he's remanded, violent offense. Did he display this criminal propensity at the age of 16 when he was?
No, but the point
tell the public where it begins.
There was a commission that the government gave a former deputy commissioner. I don't want to call his name.
No names, please.
I'm not going to call his name.
and he reported that nothing happens at the reform schools. And therefore, the recidivist level is so high that those 14 and 13-year-olds are going to end up in DODs.
Right.
And over 60% of the people who committed crimes at a young 13, 14-year-old level end up in prison.
So nothing
he was saying the consultant told
while he is 13 or 14.
government deal with the problems at 13 and 14.
Because by the time he reaches 16, he's with a gun and he's remanded.
You understand? And nothing, the program government in that is, I don't know the name now, used to call DOT. When it was going in the name DOTs. But they moved prison now and put it in DOTs. And we keep forgetting what those programs are. Nothing. The man says no remedial work. No program direction. Nothing so happens at those institutions.
In terms of remedial work, I'm going to ask Damien to comment on the value of sports. Tell the public about the value of sports in a young person's life.
Well, the value of sports in a young person's life, how would I put it? I can only speak from learned experiences from me. Because a lot of the individuals that I would have been on teams with.
You were in the BDF program?
I was in the BDF program.
At what age, please?
I went in there in my early 20s.
Early 20s.
About 21.
Right.
Probably going into 22. And that in itself was even late.
Yes, I was thinking so.
Yeah, that in itself was even late, but for some reason somebody said, you know what, we're going to capture you. Because we tend to aim for those individuals coming like out of school 17, 18. But I think it's 18 is the year that you can join the Barbados Defense Force Sports Program. But it's not uncommon for individuals probably coming into their early 20s to join. But in my time, there were a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds coming fresh out of school who would join the program. But before I get to the program, at the secondary school level where I went to school, a lot of those at-risk youth, those children who tend to have behavioral issues, they were very good at sports. They didn't care anything. They didn't care.
So it was a great avenue.
It was a great avenue. They didn't really care about going into the classroom and sitting down because you'll find that, especially with boys.
So they found an area of success.
They found there was an area of success.
Yes,
but sitting down in the classroom was too monotonous, even for some of us, because we didn't really care about the lesson. We could have done the work, but we couldn't wait for like sessions of TV to get on the field, you know, play football, play cricket, you know, I bet I could jump further than you in the sandpit, put $1 down and see who will win. You know, that sort of thing. But even then, when I was going to school, you found that certain individuals, the teachers or so on, did not want us to participate or represent the school because we had that reputation. So then you found that there was this attempt to try to separate us from the sport because they were looking at the optics and said, "Oh, we don't want one of the bad boys representing the school," even though that might have been an avenue to reach maybe an at-risk
and
youth.
Sport could be part of the education.
So then taking them into sport as a safety net or something that captures those individuals that come out of school. And I tell people again that you have to be very, very, very mindful of what someone comes to you with, because all they might have is a skill at football, a skill in running, a skill in basketball. That is all.
So you're putting the case for sport to be incorporated into the curriculum.
And because people don't, I tell people that sports is not games and games is not sport. Sport is an avenue where you can make a living. And it's not just getting on a pasture, kicking a ball, or getting on a track and running a race.
LeBron James is a billionaire. Not that defines his success, but he found his calling.
LeBron James spends something like $1 million a year
on himself.
To keep his body tuned.
But that's his calling.
That's his calling.
Somebody else will become a neurosurgeon. That's his calling.
That's his calling.
And sport is a legitimate calling.
It is a legitimate calling because then when you look at what goes into becoming a professional sports athlete, there is the training, you know, there is theory behind it too, in regards that you have to sit down, you have to go to all these seminars in regards to doping, you have to know what not to put into your body.
Mhm.
You have to
Mhm.
get media training.
Right.
You know, it is an avenue that you can push someone down so that they can have some form of economic prosperity. So
Mhm.
then with this as a safety net now,
Mhm.
you might be able to capture an individual who could just kick a ball very well and bend it like Beckham.
Mhm.
But you might be putting them on a path to economic prosperity and keeping them out of the hands of the individuals that will
That will
weaponize them
precisely.
and then
Precisely.
turn them loose on society. And
But
then,
I've heard you say, I'm sorry to cross you, I've heard you say that you were a success of the BDF program.
I am a successful Barbados.
And you know, I come here and I talk BDF, I praise you, I praise Tino Best and others. And government has closed it down. Have they not?
They closed it down, said that
Is
there
this
was.
forgivable?
It is unforgivable because their excuse was that there was funding issues.
Funding.
Funding
The
issues.
same government that's spending all this money,
Spending all this money on big
70 million
gatherings,
on Carry Fest.
on Carry Festa. You're telling me that a program that might have put, say, 40 or 50 young individuals into a controlled environment,
Yes.
a disciplined, controlled environment where that they can attain their qualifications through the classes that they provide, get scholarships to go to BCC,
Mhm.
even allowed to go and study at the tertiary level as well at UE.
Mhm.
That you could not find some proper use for that. When I heard that they were closing it down, it brought me.
I
Yes,
I
Verla.
want to interject here because I don't want to critique Carry Festa and spending money on Carry Festa for two reasons. I'm trying to decide the order in which to say them. The first one is that alongside sport, a lot of the youngsters who are quote unquote failing at school are also very creative.
Failing, quote unquote.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is because there's not the same currency push.
Right, to those disciplines.
Correct.
Mhm.
So, for instance, pardon me being personal again, but neither of my children has gone a traditional route. One went to Harrison College, and she chose art. The other went to St. Michael. He chose joinery and furniture design. And
Lovely.
I'm happy to hear you all say that. But usually when people are asking me, how are my children, they're asking me which one is doing law.
Or medicine.
Okay. Okay. So I don't want to critique Carry Festa because our creatives needed an outlet. I also can't critique Carry Festa because I don't know how much money was actually spent on it. We've been promised a budget. I have never in my life understood how adding and subtracting could be beyond an entire government to the point that 2 months deep, we can't hear which dollar went where.
They got
Okay.
calculators. They got calculators.
Adding and subtracting should be mental arithmetic. Tell me you need a calculator to do differentiation or something. So, but in all seriousness, this present administration finds money for what it wants.
That's the point. That's the point.
So to hear that a program is cancelled, a program with certified success is scuppered and sacrificed on the altar of
experience,
lack of finance, when we can't get any dollar figure on the travel of the Prime Minister,
Precisely.
okay, tells me how low on the totem pole the fixing of society actually is. How low on the totem pole the rescuing of our young people lies. Because you will spend money on the things that are a priority for you. And absolutely a priority should be programs that support our young people, that allow them to feel like they have a place in society, because it is that displacement that makes them very comfortable in the other world of criminality.
Yes.
Okay, because if they're feeling that they have a role, correct, that is the very word, ostracism. We look at them as having taken themselves out of society. They feel that they are outcasts.
Yes.
So it is for those of us who are on the inside to pull them back in, not the other way around. It's nice if they walk back in, but the effort has to come from us. We have to make it seem as though they are wanted. And you do not demonstrate that by closing down programs that have obvious benefit. And then
results.
And then to put your focus on the Prime Minister's Cup, which in and of itself is not problematic. Every single night there's economic activity, so there is turnover. So in and of itself it is not problematic. But what you have is, on any given night, a minimum of 22 young men chasing a dream of $100,000, and only one team is getting it. Only one team is getting the pot. So you still have not addressed economic development. You still have not addressed something else to do besides. Because at the end of the day, once we are talking nation building, in the heart of each one is, how am I supporting my family? Okay,
It's a lottery, Verla. The football is
absolutely
lottery.
it's a lottery. It is a lottery, and it has a jackpot.
Yes.
Only one team is winning it. The experience last year will tell you that even that is fraught with difficulties.
Yes.
So we have an idea, okay, but it has to be structured better, and it has to be, there has to be a consistency to it as well.
That like the football, what can we do for the moment? What can we do? Look, there's this quiet out there.
It's a bomb. It's a bomb.
Yes, young people are acting up. They're nervous. What did you call it? A vanity project?
It doesn't require any thought. A
competition and a slogan.
Outside of that, when we get past the competition and the slogan, I don't know if anybody else is paying attention to the team names. Which is why I said that it is thoughtless. It is literally thoughtless, because it is in some way also a promotion of what we've come to understand to be the gangs and the blocks, I think, because those very same terminologies are being used in the names for teams. So I think that whilst it looks like it is doing something, it is a difference between activity and achievement.
Yes.
All right. And I am not satisfied that it will achieve the aims that we're looking for when we're building a nation.
But that's not what the intention is for the government.
What's the government saying?
Well, I don't ever speak for them. So
what do you think is government saying?
An activity.
I mean, the attendances are good. I'm told.
It's an activity, and it's a good public relations thing.
Yeah.
Something is happening.
Yes, something is happening.
But it's not developmental drive. It's not what happens after it finishes.
Yes.
Nobody is developing football in this competition.
It's going nowhere.
Feel good in the moment. And when the moment ends,
that's wait, if there was,
we don't want to come over as if we're against you, because I mean, the fact that the attendances are good and
there's economic activity on the night
themselves, both on and off the field.
Look, I think
there are energies out there that need to be harnessed.
They got something called bragging rights that happens on lumber company.
Yes.
Or the lumber company ground there.
Yeah. Every now and then they will go up there. They really.
That's a football competition as well.
And it's very very grassroots.
Right. And it's cool, old school team.
Large
versus and it's lovely. No, That
Good
is
line.
right.
Good
No,
line.
too good.
Yeah.
Now I try that you're doing something called the Prime Minister's,
Okay.
wherever it is.
Mhm.
It must have a base at the
Yes.
bottom
Yes.
that drives
Rooted
it.
in the community.
Right, whatever, but something that is driving it that you can see 4 years.
It has to have a developmental component.
Right.
That
right.
is what is
Yes,
missing for
yes,
me.
Yeah. It's just one-off. PR. Feel good.
It's
It's not a
PR,
vanity project.
it's economic,
That's what it is.
it is all of those things, but it is not developmental.
Going nowhere.
But to me, this government, they make lofty promises, but then their actions only touch the surface.
Right.
There's no planning into how they're going to build from the ground up. Because to me, the prime minister's cup is what it is.
It's organic, yeah.
It is the cup that belongs to the prime minister.
Yes.
That is all it is. As you play for the
Mhm.
cup that belongs to the prime minister, and you get a cash prize.
And what happens next happens.
And whatever happens next, and then the competition comes
Even if
along
it is nothing.
next year, then so be
Do it again.
But then what happens in between that downtime that the
Yes.
competition is
How long does the competition
No
last? David?
developmental.
I'm not
Wait,
sure, to be honest.
12 weeks.
12 weeks. 3 months.
And that is consistent with the block program. Block program, went and put the block program cricket. No,
Well, Derek,
the cricket
this is
competition.
not amusing, although it is amusing. Last year, when the block final played, two cricketers who were the best cricketers in the final had played cricket in the West Indies. And I said, well, I didn't know these two fellas were on the block.
They do block.
No, it was fake.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. These things
people
have no development.
That was
Developmental focus
it was
or
public
plan.
relations.
Yes.
Public relations. You would have thought that they would go on and approach the people on the block. Don't like the term myself.
No,
And that they would have expended energies in cricket. But when you hear the final and you hear two former West Indies cricketers are the best performers in the final, you just fall flat. It was another farce.
that is typical.
Another vanity project, as
And that's the challenge that we have as a nation. That programs have no long-term plan or continuity and
sell a slogan.
It is just the moment.
Yes.
Let's do it and make people comfortable.
Yes.
And we have the money. We will find the money and spend it on this thing. The prime minister gets the kudos, and everybody else is supposed to be happy.
Let me make a suggestion. I know there are some people who think that we shouldn't be telling the government what to do.
No, let us.
Right. Coming out of the exercise as currently structured, we should be able to pick 20 youngsters whose raw talent, whose raw talent can be honed into a national team. That we could be envisioning the outstanding ones from that group getting scholarships that feed into club football overseas, whilst we develop club football here to be that incubator. All right. In the meantime, that we are using the competition. So whilst it has a benefit, it is a diversion on the night. It has a benefit. Economic activity follows it, but it needs to not be that short-term burst of energy. There needs to be, along with that adrenaline rush, there still needs to be that slow feed that builds, because that's really what we need. We need development, and it is the gloss. But before you get to gloss, if you want a lasting gloss, it is what's built up underneath the gloss that matters. Otherwise, it will flake off. You need to have the gold being more than plated, you know,
But-
and that's what's missing.
What you're suggesting has to be in place at the outset. You set those parameters at the beginning because those are the objectives you want, and this government is not about those objectives. And they just make this general point. We have National Association, the Football Association, Volleyball Association. That is really the program development should be focused on. You have resources to do a tournament called the Prime Minister's Tournament. You go to the association and say, look, we believe that we need to have a program at that level. How can that program then marry your national program so that we can connect the two of them together? A secretariat, for want of a better word, is selected to run the Prime Minister's Tournament. It has nothing to do with the Football Association. So there is no connection to national football development and the Prime Minister's Cup. There's no connection at all.
Derek, I wouldn't have called it the Prime Minister's Cup. Call it the People's Cup.
You know what I mean?
And Damien, should it not have been rooted, genuinely rooted in the communities, promoting good, healthy rivalry, and make it parish-based?
Yeah.
We have what, 11 parishes in Barbados? Why could not the tournament have been so that when St. Lucy is playing St. Philip,
all we go,
Lucy,
all we go.
Precise.
It used to
Journey
be
down to St.
constituency based.
Right.
Another iteration.
It used to be
Constituency based.
before. Yeah.
Yes.
But this is all about the Prime Minister. And
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point.
It is not designed to develop football.
It's a grand
Otherwise,
argument at the top.
it would be connected to the institution that has been created to develop
To
football.
develop football, BFA.
If you mean you can't expect the Prime Minister's Cup to have any connection to the football association.
It's a grandizement.
When it has a different set of teams. The Prime Minister's Cup could be the 6 teams that came first in the 3rd division, first in the 2nd division, and 4 the best person. I have a Prime Minister's Cup that reflects quality out of the tournament.
All right, let us come back to crime. Time is flying, and I want to talk about the police. And to remind the panel that years ago there used to be long queues to get into the police force at the time. It's the other way around now. The police service is begging people to come.
No, the government put in bring a law and everyone leave to the law.
Really? But you know, why Damien, why is not the police service attracting recruits?
I could tell you something. When I was a teenager, when I was going to school, one of the more attractive occupations was to be a police officer.
Really?
It was looked as a profession of integrity.
Yes.
You know, and I had so many friends tell me, I'm going to join the police force.
Yes.
I'm going to join the police force. I'm going to join the police force. But over the years, we've seen our officers being, how should I say, hampered, mired. They've been poorly equipped. They've been poorly incentivized in regards to salaries. Nothing is actually attracting anyone to the police force anymore, because really and truly the institution itself has been allowed to just crumble.
Recently I was at church, and a young man, not going to call his name obviously, a constable, he told me, look, I did the exam and I passed, and a colleague of mine did the exam and he failed and he got promoted, and I've not been promoted. And Verla, you may know something about this.
That's the type of political, interference and nuisances that we find inside of these institutions that tend to, in a sense, discourage individuals from wanting to even continue inside the police force. And then when they come out and they probably meet someone that asks them, hey, you're a police officer. I want to join the force. What do you think? And they would say, no, it's too political. You're not. There's nothing in there ready for you. What's the sense in passing an exam and not being promoted, or being held back from promotions because somebody likes this person more than you, or for the fact that over some series of years now, the police were promised back pay and I think hazard pay for COVID, and they've not even gotten that yet. So we see that this government they basically just allow the police to just
Languish.
Yeah.
Verla, they have failed to modernize the police service in Barbados.
Well, they gave them a new name.
Yeah, that's it. Again, cosmetics.
And some of them got lovely new badges. It is performative. There's so many different things. When we start at the base level and we consider, and this is a reality, we consider that the nature of crime has changed in Barbados to the point where being a police officer is literally a dangerous job. They're not insured by the state, nor can they secure proper insurance privately.
Expensive.
They are not at the entry level compensated much better than the youngsters who clean the side of the road.
$31,000 a year.
What makes them put their lives in danger? On just
commitment,
a pure economic argument. And then for those who see it as a calling, how do we prevent them from becoming jaded? And it can't be that after 20 years you get an extra badge. That's not
this
it.
Is the senior constables.
The senior constables.
There's
It
a
is
story
not.
there. We will tell it very shortly.
It is not. First of all, the ones I've spoken to aren't pleased, but it is not what we are looking for. A police service, a modern police service, should have so many different opportunities in it that a constable is spoilt for choice.
Correct. Yes, great. Yes.
We speak about policing in terms of a response, society's response to crime.
Right, yes.
But policing on the other side of the crime coin is preventative policing, which we don't pay enough attention to here. That should be an area of policing that is attractive to officers. We're hurtling into the second quarter of the 21st century. Yet still, when I go to randomly calling Oyston's police station and I ask for the record of a particular person, they can't give me the entire record. They can tell me what is there. If it is a matter that's going to be dealt with that day, they have the information to hand. They have not been modernized to the extent they have their laptops, but they can't give you that comprehensive information that you should be able to access from anywhere. So they haven't been given that. They haven't been given support services. I have run out of space in my mind to hold the number of months that we have been promised that the Forensic Sciences Center will reopen. Okay, the eraser in my brain is just going. We get a new one every time somebody mentions, but wait, the last date passed. The last one I heard was September 2025. We are 1 week away from November of 2025, and it still isn't open, and we haven't been given a revised date, which is probably good because we keep getting revised dates. Their support services are not there. So whilst we laud them for their clear-up rate, a lot of these cases are getting thrown out in court because the evidential quality is not up to scratch. I can't blame them when they don't have the support services that they should have. Recently, we know that they've started recording, video recording statements. But because there's no transcript to go with it, in a 3-5 hour recorded interview, you can't find the information that you're looking for. So it is useless in a court setting. They haven't been given the tools to work with. Intelligence is the bedrock of policing. But if they're not building relationships on the ground, then where are they getting their intelligence from? There is friction right now between police and certain parts of society, the very parts that they need to be getting critical information from. So there's so much of policing that is really not at the feet of the police, but can be laid squarely at the feet of government, because it is for them to cure these deficiencies. That clearly is not a priority for the present administration, to allow the police to be effective in policing. And because they are not allowed to be effective, the level of frustration in policing is high. How does that tell any youngster that that is an organization to join?
He wants to join. Damien, you spoke of your own experience in your time in which people felt very proud to join, in a minute, to join the police service. Why? I'm going to give you some information, and I think it is correct that a lot of young officers are leaving the force soon after recruitment.
Going overseas.
Why do you think this would be happening, as in contrast with what you said about earlier times?
Well, because the realities of what I guess would have been the throes of the depression on the outside, when you get on the inside now and you see what it is,
the frustration,
you become disillusioned. As Comrade Verla would have said, the police, they require the tools to do their job effectively. And while they need those tools, they also need to be compensated fairly. In fact, I won't even say it fairly. I think that they should be compensated very generously, because they're putting their lives on the line to come and, in a sense, police society and protect the most vulnerable from those individuals who will look to take advantage of them. So when you find that those persons who say, I want to join the police force because that is my dream job, and then they get in there and they see the muck and the mire and the political, it would disillusion you to then say, well, you know what, this is not it. And they come out and they go and see if they can find themselves into another profession or what's not. I think that really and truly the first thing as we need to do, like Comrade Verla said, we need to equip the police. We need to make the police look attractive, because you would see you've seen the US Army ads, and they show you all the things that you can be in the Army. They should be doing this with our police force, showing them the very different things that they can do in the police force itself. Whether they create a new unit that forensics or cuts down predator larceny in regards to our crops or what's not, just something to show them all the tools that you will have, whether it be drones in regards to monitoring those crops to cut down the predator larceny or what's not. Just give them the tools, because that is what is going to make profession attractive, and the remuneration. We need to pay our officers.
Yes, let's go to a video. Let's come back to you shortly.
Yes, no problem.
Let's go to a video and see how attractive life can be in Barbados.
General, man. Big lady, man. Forever. With us, St. John, man. Right. One love all time. Right.
Is we're
restaurants allowed and cook shops and food stores allowed to be able to serve on Sundays and bank holidays? You, the media, asked me that same question, and the Attorney General that same question.
On behalf of the Ricey government, we apologize to the Honorable Mia Montley and her government for the gathering yesterday at Deacon's Market. We are very sorry. We just want everybody to just keep your hands sanitized, stay social distance 6 feet apart, and remember to put down the guns because we are in recess and we will be staying inside. We Ricey government will be off the streets at 5 o'clock today. We will be inside, so we want everybody in Barbados stay safe and listen to the boss. She know what she's doing.
She's a menace because she's a despot. She's a menace because she's a despot, believes that she has a right to be a despot. She tried to be a despot with me. And I want to end by saying this. My parents sent me to school so that I should not be a boy in the yard for any despot in this country.
Of course. You want me to tell them for you? I can tell them. All the bad mind. Get yourself in off the mouth and talking me a day.
Interesting. I suppose this is Barbados, and this is 2025. And perhaps there are people who will tell you that it's being cool, except that a lot of things are happening in this country which are not very cool. A lot of our young people are falling by the wayside. And I've said before, we seem to be in a culture of decadence, and decadence leads to nowhere for a lot of young people. I don't want us to comment on those videos. We just show them, show the times in which we are now living. Let us come back to, in the few minutes we have left, let us look at solutions to crime. Don't comment on those videos, please. And let me say to the public, those videos are not artificial intelligence. Those are real. We haven't disparaged anybody. Those are real. Yeah? Because the politics has to become serious. We have to make of this political exercise the serious business that it ought to be. And we fear that it is not. That politics seems to be distancing itself from the real issues that affect people in this country, the real serious issues that affect people in this country. And as I said on Tuesday, perhaps popularity is now more important than principle. But we want to return this country to a country in which principle counts for more than popularity. Principle that's related to substance, principle that's related to morality, principle that is related to offering young people a good prospect in their lives. Those videos are very, very real. Whatever you think of them, you can think as you wish, but that is not artificial intelligence. That is very real. Esther Blue, I'm being asked to read what Esther Blue has written. How does white-collar crime and organized crime compare to youth street crime in terms of social impact? Derek, you want to take that?
No, the truth is, we hardly ever get data on white-collar crime.
You don't get data.
We get anecdotal information, and there are suspicions, and there are beliefs, and so on, but we never ever get data. Often, let's not picking up the banks. If an employee takes that money out of a bank, I used to take it up. I used to steal it. I takes it up. It is not going to be taken through the court because the bank doesn't want to give an impression that your money is not safe. Very few cases end up in court in the banks, and even in a credit union. I remember a credit union. Somebody in the free money, you deal with him and
and it's quietly
and you try to quiet it down. And so again, at the level now, again the top level, where insider trading happens and so on, because corporations in Barbados know when a bank is going to be selling shares before the rest of the public is aware. Right? We're not going to talk about ships that come in with counterfeit or contraband, and the people on the ship don't get charged, but the small person ends up in court. Look, and I call those white too, and I'm not talking white in pencil, I talk about color too. So there's also white color too. But I don't think this is limited to Barbados. I think that the mighty and the powerful have ways to evade the investigative powers of the police and judiciary, and the ordinary man in the street will find it difficult to escape the arms of the law. I keep my response that broad. Because I may say specific things that
please don't.
Come back home.
Please don't.
Well, I don't mind being specific. The Barbados Police Service, in its statistics yearly, give figures for white collar crime. But what they're including in white collar crime are fraud, which the average person can be involved in as well, and things of that nature. What we do not have a lot of reporting of, and anecdotal, unless it gets out of hand, like what was his name, Roger Smith, and if it is of that amount, those tend to go to court. So to answer Esther's query, there is no difference between white collar crime, corporate crime, and street crime when you relate it to social development. It is the point that I made earlier, that those who are from the bracket where you would consider that white collar crime and corporate crime would come from, they frown on street crime and violent crime.
Glad you came there, Verla. Street crime. I'm sorry to do this, but I'm staying with you. The appearance of the police and the BDF with large guns walking through Pine. What does that do to the Pine in terms of its image?
Okay. Just to finish the thought
I want
before,
you to come to that one.
The same way that strata of society views street crime and violent crime is the same way that another strata of society views corporate crime. And what that means is that any society that is serious about tackling crime has to tackle all manifestations of crime. To segue then to how we're tackling it on the street.
Yes.
For several years, the Barbados Defense Force patrolled with the Barbados Police Service as it is now. That has become standard, particularly at night, and for certain during festivals, anytime that crowds are expected. So seeing the soldiers with the police is not new. What is new is expecting soldiers who have an entirely different training regime to act like police officers. we would know that there's an art and a science behind arrest. Okay? And that there are several nuances as to when you can, whether you need a warrant, right? Whole classes are taught on it.
Initiated a training program for the BDF people.
Yes, they have.
And so on.
Yes, they have. But they're getting a crash course.
Yeah, it is a crash course.
In a fundamental area of policing. And that is alarming. I expect that there will be several points of collision. The difference is, and I'm just going to speak about it in one aspect, and that is in the management of firearms. A police officer with a firearm and a soldier with a firearm are two different entities. But they're now going to be arms and in a conflict situation where they are looking to effect arrest. I fully expect and hope to be wrong that the points of friction with society will become more acute than they already are. I want to be wrong.
You want to be wrong.
I want to be wrong. That's the best I can say about that.
Damien, I look, I'm not an expert, and I try not to criticize police strategies, but I think we can do our own assessments. Now, a few weeks ago, the police, well, the BDF walked through the Pine a few weeks ago, and one expects that this would be, well, it would cause people not to commit crimes up there. But then 2 weeks later, somebody's killed. What's your view? Treat this as your personal position. What is your personal position on the sight of soldiers walking through the Pine with large guns on a morning?
To me, is bad optics because it gives the look of a military state.
Yes.
You get me?
Yes.
Because what Comrade Verla said is that police and soldiers have patrol together at times, right? But in the manner that which it was conducted in Pine, even anyone on the outside looking in would think that, well, this is a trouble area and this is an area that's not safe.
Yes.
What I think personally for me is that rather than just exercise these heavy-handed tactics, we need to get back to community policing. We need to get back to police officers being a staple in the community, being a presence,
an organic part of the community.
Organic part of the community, even if they have their own community development programs inside certain constituencies. That is the
You personally don't like it?
I personally do not like it. I've never been one. As Verla said, police officers and soldiers, these are two different types of creatures in regards to enforcement and defense. Police are trained not only in the art of arrest, but in the art of de-escalation. If there are issues that are a matter where that the police does not need to arrest someone, or they just need to, especially in domestic situations, they de-escalate those situations. Soldiers are not trained to de-escalate. Soldiers are trained that when they are deployed, they're going to go and pretty much put down whatever it is basically a civil unrest, or if the country itself is being invaded, they are sent to go and do their duty, which is to kill. They are trained in the art of killing. My thing is that you cannot give police a 6-week crash course and then expect them to turn into the more seasoned officers that know all the nuances in regards to how to properly arrest someone. Because the same way that the arrest is illegal, it is a legal tactic for the police to subdue someone. There is something called an illegal arrest, and something that will impede on the person's constitutional rights. And then you have a whole constitutional matter, blah blah blah. But my thing is that the government needs to get back to community policing, rather than just deploying soldiers walking around heavy-handed. that will straight fear.
Yeah, Derek, I wanted your opinion on this. Damien doesn't like the show of force. Damien doesn't like the militarization of the community culture. Yeah, what's your view on it? And please express your own personal views.
During COVID, the government sent the defense force and the police into communities to deliver hampers.
Yes.
And that to me sent a message about what is expected from certain communities. I was standing all Kingsland when the truck came down with a police escort and a defense force escort, handing out hampers for COVID. And the shivers that went through my body were not about the fear of people running out and causing trouble. It was about suppose it happened.
Suppose what happened?
Somebody came to snatch a hamper. You with me?
No.
I didn't expect anybody from all games already passed with these things.
Snatch a hamper from.
I didn't expect any of them to do it. All communities are not like that. But my things, all he needed is one offset young man to run out and try to jump in the trap. What would have happened? It was my question.
You get a free hamper?
No. I'm saying. So why do you need a defense force, people?
Yeah, that did not look good.
Right. So my problem was
it was a militarization of the culture.
Right, and therefore, I said my fear was like when they needed one misguided person to jump on the truck and try to carry 6 hampers, what would have been the response?
I don't think they would have done anything.
So when they come then?
Well, they ought not to have been doing it because they could have done it in plain clothes.
No, what I'm saying is, so you are making the statement
in
that this community
it just did not look good. It was the military presence without guns. As Damien commented on the Pine, it was the military presence with guns. But you don't want the military presence. When they were doing the hampers?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yes, Verla.
The thing is that when you deploy your military in policing, what is your response should you need your army? Because you've blurred the lines between the two. I think it's fairly deliberate too, but we're not examining that in any great detail this evening. But having blurred the lines between the two, on that unlikely moment, or maybe more likely than we think, given what's happening in Caribbean waters these days, that we do need military protection, having deployed them as police officers, is that going to be a difficulty? On the other side, having deployed them, the army, the defense force, into policing, have we now become a military state?
That's the point.
Okay. I don't think we've, as a country, examined either one of those two. The problem with the time that we live in right now is that we find ourselves discussing these weighty questions after the fact because we're not invited into the conversation beforehand. And by the time they send it to select committee, they're basically putting it to cool to bring it back when tempers are lower. But essentially it comes back. Have we become a military state now that we have soldiers policing? I don't want anybody on the panel to answer that. I want for the country to chew that one overnight and let me know what you feel.
Damien, have we become a military state?
Snake public DVD.
What I would say is that I would hope we have. And that's all I'm going to say. Because we
agree.
I find it very easy for someone who's very popular, a popular leader, to then take certain liberties with the military, and people become numb to what is going on because
They were told to watch.
You know,
what else were they supposed to do?
Yeah, and before you know it, we find ourselves in a situation where we cannot claw back what has already been set in motion.
Yeah.
So I would hope we haven't, and I would echo the words of Comrade Peiza. You know, chew on that, internalize it, look around, ask yourself, and then speak. Speak on your forums, speak on social media, speak to your friends, speak to your family, speak, but internalize it.
It's one remind the community that a soldier is not going out in any community without a gun.
Without a gun, okay. The government, we're going to shift a little bit. The government has conveyed to the people of Barbados that what is happening is happening. It had to happen. And we will all have to live with it until it ends. That's what the government has conveyed. And every time you criticize the government's inactivity in relation to solutions to crime, you hear, well, the government didn't cause it. It will happen. I want to ask this panel, I don't want you to identify them. This is just the broad question. Are there solutions to crime?
Yes.
I believe
you there.
Yes, I believe that. You don't
have to say what they are. Are there?
Yes.
Or must
yes.
we,
yes.
Are we condemned? To
I believe that any society has to respond to a criminal environment by bringing in medicine to deal with the causes, and the sources and the forces that drive it. And you do that, but if you got a headache, you go to the doctor.
Keep that book open, Verla, because I'm coming to you.
If you got a headache, you go to the doctor, and he tell what the headache is a symptom of something else. All criminal behavior and so on are symptoms of other challenges in Barbados.
And he treats the cause.
And you know to find out what those symptoms are telling you about what is wrong. Our government has not internalized that the criminal behavior is a result of social fractures and so on. And they are not willing to go and look at those fractures that are causing the behavioral impacts that we have.
Verla,
I
don't know which page you're at, but you have a chance now to share with the public your famous report, portions of it. Are there solutions to crime, and are you going to share some from your report?
There are always solutions to crime. We don't have a lot of time, but the recommended reading, if nothing else, is chapter 10. Chapter 10, yes. And apart from being numbered, it has the same name as the report, Blueprint to Rescue a Nation. It sets out short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions. What it does not do is foist solutions. The solutions will come best when there are grassroots solutions, when they are moving from the people. So they are macro in nature with the intention that they can be transposed because they have to be sufficiently malleable. Right. In broad terms, the first thing you need to know is what you're aiming for. What is the society that you want? What are the outcomes that you are looking to achieve? And then you have to think about all the different ways, because it can't just be one path. All the different ways to get you there. Because this program is focused on the youth, I do want to speak to the ones
Yes, please.
that will center on the youth. Our education system has to stop being a form and become responsive.
Yeah.
We have to become more open-minded in terms of what education is. That is not about removing what people choose to call status schools. That is not the aim and the objective. We will always need to be crediting academic achievement. That has never been the problem that Barbados had.
Correct.
The problem that Barbados had is that it was only crediting academic achievement. We need to be crediting achievement. So I got a Barbados exhibition off of academia, and someone should be equally entitled to a Barbados scholarship and a Barbados exhibition on their skill, on their sporting achievements, on their artistic development. There should be no different categories of scholarship.
Right.
There should be scholarship. And your attainment, the very name says it. Scholarship is that you have excelled in a particular area.
Right. Permit me this one. So the academic approach is short, medium, or long term? Don't close your book.
There are no, my hand is there.
Good.
They are featured in each because the job is never done.
Okay.
Your education, what we are talking about, what we're talking about now, if we are looking, because I'm hearing so much talk about robotics and IT and all of that. You have to be looking to see what is the next thing coming, because we're talking about robotics and IT. The whole world has gone past that into AI, you know, and we're still talking about bringing robotics into the schools. You know, we have to be, we are lagging, okay, and it is because we are trying to play with the big boys, and we don't even have the same equipment as the big boys, and that's education. Outside of education, we need to have a rethink of pretty much every aspect of our society. Let's just deal with health. We look at health again in a linear way. So if you break a leg, we accept that with your broken leg, you can still function and be a productive member of society. But if you have mental issues, you are automatically ostracized because we have not trained our society to see physical injury and mental injury in the same way. They both end with some form of incapacity, but we have not seen it as so limiting that you are not viewed as a functioning member of society. Once we get past that, we would be able to deal with the depression and the aimlessness and the suicide levels. Nobody's really talking about it, and it's affecting our young men in the same way that we're seeing the increasing involvement in crime. The majority of the persons who commit suicide in Barbados are young men, and we need to be addressing what is ailing them by first allowing them to speak. That's just two. Our social structure has to change as well. I know that for some people, they're going to be saying, oh, we need to get back to the church and things of that nature. The first thing we need to do with the church, though, is to face up to its insidious past. Its roots in slavery can't be brushed aside anymore because we have educated generations who very firmly understand the role that it played in that aspect of society and our history, and how it has not even asked for forgiveness yet. Also, it lost its moral footing along the way, and it needs to do its own homework in order to reclaim that. So we will set them aside for a moment. In terms,
to insert this one quickly, I was at a funeral on Saturday and Monday at the same church, Mount Tabor, Moravian, and it struck me. My first school was Grace Hill, and that was a Moravian church.
Yes.
Mount Tabor,
also
Sharon,
Moravian.
Calvary. The contribution that the Moravians have made to education in this country, I think we owe a statement in gratitude.
Okay, I think they should write their history.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying, but
I think they should write their history.
There's a good side to it.
Well, most things have a good side and a bad side,
Well,
but you have to
I just
own
wanted
up.
to pause and comment on the good side. And
Okay.
He's a piece of Moravian.
Well, I think he may well be.
The Moravians have made an excellent contribution to education in Barbados.
I
All education.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of community development, there's some realities.
That's Dr. Alleyne now.
Yes, there are some realities and practicalities that are just easy fixes. The community centers just need to open back.
Oh,
they need to function as community centers.
Renaming one in Pinelands. No, that's Yorkshire. The Pinelands one is to be renamed after somebody with the initial DB.
Yeah,
and Hamilton Lashley is well and alive, and Hamilton Lashley has been the ultimate
pivot
in parliamentary and community representation in Barbados. And we defy this government to rename any centre Verla de Peiza in the Pine, and do not. They must name it after Hamilton Lashley. And if they don't, we are going to the Pinelands with Pedro Shepherd and insist that the centre must be renamed after Mr. Where's the camera? After Mr. Hamilton Lashley. Back to you, Verla de Peiza.
I will openly admit that all of that is performative for me, and I am more interested in what goes on inside the building than what sign they put on the outside. So I will leave that fight for others. That one is not for me. I want
part of our campaign.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Politics.
It won't be for me. That's my personal statement, because I'm really very interested in the development of the society, and that is a particular community center, whereas my commentary is about how we need to use them. We need to skill our people, and we need to skill them near to home. The reason why we need to do it near to home is that the majority of who we need to skill is single mothers of young children. And they cannot venture too far from home because they can't afford childcare outside of the home. And when their children start school, they have to be available at 3 o'clock to receive them. So we need to keep those realities in mind when we are putting programs in community centers. So it doesn't make sense having a cooking class at 7 o'clock at night when it's bedtime for the little children. You know, we have to reflect the realities of the community that we're looking to service, and the easiest way to do that is to have the momentum move from them instead of a push from government. So I'm very much in favor of the devolution of government when it comes to these issues, and that is just an area because of time as to how we can use our community centers. And I'm seeing the looks, so I know that we're pressing hard on time.
You're coming back with this. You're coming back with this. We've only scratched the surface.
Yes, because I haven't spoken about Derek touched on the juvenile liaison scheme and the rehabilitation and all the different levels of rehabilitation that we need to have. But there's way more than a cursory conversation can have, and even more than this report can report on. because, as I said, this can only speak to the macro level, but the implementation will require much more detailed documents. So we need to be very determined and also purposeful. Whatever we're doing, it has to, we need to be laser focused on it, because our country has sunk so far in such a short space of time. I'm not going to repeat the phrase that they made into a national phrase, except to say that 7 is less than 10, and a whole heap more to the detriment of the society has happened in 7 years than happened in 10. And we can't wait to fix. We have to hit the ground running. So the Democratic Labour Party's interest is to sell to the people of Barbados that we can fix our society for the betterment of our people. That is not a xenophobic statement.
Correct.
You do not invite people to a nasty house. You clean your house and then you get your visitors. Okay? And our house right now stinks. We need to take a pause as a country, fix ourselves, and then face the world.
Thank you. Let us go to 2 houses in the Pine. One is Margaret Harris. That's Margaret. She says Hamilton Lashley is an icon of community development and honoring him is important. Esther Blue, we the people in the Pine are particularly interested in who they name the center after. The person they intend to name it after does not even have a fingernail in there. Monica Ince, that's Monica Ince, or that's
that's that way.
Yes, Hamilton Lashley deserves to be recognized for his service to the people. He was a man of the people, for the people. Blessings to Hammy. So the Pine is with us on honoring Hamilton Lashley. Legacy is important. The legacy of political representation, the best political representation in St. Michael Southeast and the Pine in particular, belongs to Hamilton Lashley. And we are going to insist that that center and some lasting and fitting tribute should be made to Hamilton Lashley in the Pine. We are going to agitate for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Dr. Alleyne, Ms. Verla de Peiza, and young Damien Fanus. You're Mr. Fanus. I don't want to be patronizing and dismiss you as young Damien Fanus. You are Mr. Fanus, attorney at law. Thanks for coming along. Thanks to you, the viewers. We'll be back next Tuesday. I think the director tells us. Have a great weekend. We're doing any spot meetings this weekend, please? No spot meetings this weekend. I think we are going to St. Andrew with our young man here in the studio with us. He never puts the camera on himself, Ramon Goodman. Ramon was ratified last night as the candidate for St. Andrew. A wonderful young man. St. Andrew, you're going to be seeing a lot of young Ramon Goodman. He's a young businessman. I'm not going to tell you all of his business, but a decent man, and he is going to bring home the St. Andrew seat for the Democratic Labour Party whenever they have the courage to announce the election date. This has been an absolute pleasure. Good night, and God bless you.
If I Aaron Barrow could talk today, I got something to say. Why? Raise your flag, but open your eyes. If I, Aaron Barrow, had to speak today, what I see would break my heart away. Nothing changed, just a mirror frame, same corruption, just a brand new name. My people, I'm sad to say, you reaping all you sow today. Pride and industry fade away, and now we fighting to find we way. Life at 2 extremes, I tell you so. Hope and hunger, high and low. Poverty mixing with champagne flow, but poor man still can't grow. Suffering and celebrating, starving while them still partaking. Nations rise, time to break that spell. Stop showing contempt for yourself. For yourself. when thieves lead the way. Corruption sweet when give us pay, and government take what poor man lay. Taxation high like mountain peak, while schools and roads still spring a leak. Them flying high, them living sleek, but poor man vice still 2 weeks. So tell me now, who you blaming? Who make the system shaming? Them raise the dead, destroy the cane. No migration needs the pain. You believe us like the clay, and now me are playing God today. Talking sweet but turn away from the people who make she laugh, she bend and smile she wear like she care, but she can't share. You think she love, you think she fair, or she trying to run you from here? Errol watching from up above. Virgins where the unity and love we used to build, we used to fight. Now we just beg and say alright. Let we rise again, take back pride, build Barbados from inside. And I, Errol, gone back to sleep again. Errol, but I pray next time I wake, my people go rise, rise I say. Bimshar still alive. Boy, you sell it. Boy, you sell it. Bimshar still alive. We just need to revive. Bimshar still alive. We just need to revive.
He said, stand tall, lift up your hand, build this nation strong and grand. From the hills straight down to the bay, we run, we business the Bayesian way. But now the times feel strange, and so things don't look like they did before. Still I believe what he's standing for. Barrow spirit live evermore. He says stand tall, lift your head high, from cane fields reach to the sky. Education free so the youth could try, but now we struggling hard to get by. Foreign hands on in every show, we losing grip on we own decor. Talking about freedom, but who it for? This ain't the dream he was. This ain't the Barbados he built before. We losing faith, but the soul still pure. We run, we business, the Bayesian way for sure. Not my hero Barrow no more, but I still believe in what he stood for. The pride still deep down in the core. Barrow spirit knocking on we door. Land gone cheap, but the cost real steep. Foreign keys where Bayesian hands should keep. Promises made while the people sleep. Now justice talk sounds small and weak. Culture on sale, identity frail. Still the young ones dream, they set sail. But borrow words like wind in the gale. Say hold this rock, it will prevail. Not my hero Barrow no more. This ain't the Barbados he built before. We losing faith, but the soul still pure. We run, we business, the Bayesian way for sure. Not my hero Barrow no more, but I still believe in what he stood for. The pride still deep down in the core. Barrow spirit knocking on we door. Tourism bill on pause, the people demand. Cybercrime hush freedom to speak we must. Now selling we birthright for a 6-month stay. Integrity lost in the parliament dust. But hope ain't dead, it just need flame. We still could rise and call his name. Barrow dream ain't fading shame. We could lift this land again. They took his jacket, blame Ninja Man. Try and twist truth with a Slater van. Even tried move independence plan, but you can't change the flag nor rename the land. His dream still strong, his purpose grand. Time to lift up we hand in hand. Reclaim the pride, rebuild we stand. Bring back the spirit Barrow plan. but we could bring back what he fought for. Lift we flag and open the door. We run we business the Bayesian way for sure. Not my arrow barrow no more, but his spirit still walking upon this shore. We claiming back what we stood for. One people, one heart, one future sure.